Let's sorry, you confused me with all the numbers. Total, how many leads total are you in charge of generating per week?
Per week across both locations.
All
Gauge.
locations, yeah.
Every week it's 245.
So you're responsible for generating 245 leads across 8 locations. So it's all right. Welcome, Little Jim Big Heart. We're back with another interview. This one is a very, very special guest, the director of marketing for all my fitness businesses. So Juliana has been with us, in a few different contexts for, I want to say 3 years.
Coming up on four.
Wow, almost 4 years. So, what's great about Juliana is she has really risen in our company from she was just a front desk person while she was in college, where she was kind of doing this as a part time job, very part time. She was getting a marketing degree. And when she graduated, she had proven herself to be able to last in the chaos that was Gauge strength training, and we were doing a lot more on the engaged personal training side. And she has kind of taken the ball and run with it as the marketing director and done an extraordinary job. So, Juliana, why don't you give a kind of overview of your background and what you do for us?
Yeah, so I started with Gauge in I think it was 2021 when I first got on campus at Westchester University. I was just the front desk assistant and I slowly moved up to then office manager and then I got to be Devon's marketing assistant for a while too. So I kind of got firsthand of what campaigns they ran and what emails they were sending and everything like that. So then when I was graduating, I got offered the position to be marketing director for Gauge as well as Engage. So yeah, I do all of the campaigns. I do emails, organic social marketing, organic social media, paid ads, and everything marketing really.
Yeah. So I forgot she started as the marketing assistant. And, what I found with her was when she started with us, um, I realized she had this like amazing ability to be incredibly organized and like execute, right? Where I would let paper stack up on my desk and bills go unpaid because I just couldn't like slow myself down to like sit and sort it all out or go through it. I started just giving it to her and just it would be gone in like minutes. I was like, wow, like, I've never seen this ability to just like execute emotionless on something. So that's kind of like with marketing, we would write an email and it would never get sent out, or we would come up with a campaign and like it wouldn't be followed through with fully because there was a lot of like tedious kind of follow through or like a couple weeks long of sending emails over and over or whatever the campaign was. And that's where you started fitting in is just making sure like all the stuff that we were creating was getting, coming to fruition and actually happening. But now you're doing a lot more with like fully building everything out yourself. So if you could describe, we learned a lot from Vince Gabriel, who's my business mentor that you've done some work with as well in the mastermind groups, and he taught me what's called the marketing glove, which just a cute way of saying like 5 channels of marketing avenues. What are the engage or gauge strength training channels of marketing that you oversee?
Yeah, so social media is one, paid ads, email and SMS campaigns. So it's really just our organic marketing, joint ventures, and events, and then our website.
Cool. So just to run through that again, we do paid digital ads and organic. Let's just use like social media ads, organic and paid. SMS and email. So that's essentially we've got leads that have opted in. We're just remarketing to them. We have joint ventures. What was the other one?
Oh, website.
Website, and then we do some referrals too, which is a little bit more internal. But so that's kind of what I wanted to center today's talk about is like what we do from a marketing cadence standpoint, like what volume of messaging we're sending out, what's our strategy, um, and what results we get. So let's start on the digital and organic side. I mean, the organic, to be honest, there's probably not a ton to talk about, but let's talk about like the social media side. So what's your approach there?
Yeah, so for social media, organically, we post 3 times a week on the Engage Instagram. So those posts are just really centered around our blog, but then also we do a post highlighting our members. So ensuring that they're highlighted across the board, across all locations, really. So they have a goal, the facility leaders have to post a highlight post every Friday, and then that gets reposted on our centralized account as well, so that they're being put out there and made sure that they are center of our marketing as well.
Yeah, so just to clarify like the structure. So we have a centralized Instagram account, which is just Engage Personal Training, and then every location has their own Instagram as well. They have to post, I don't know, a couple times a week with like member highlights and stuff going on in the gym and content that they're creating. You are posting the blog content. So we
Yep.
also, and this is a newer thing, content marketing is something that we're going a little bit more into where we'll write a blog, we'll post it on the website, and then we'll post a series of social media posts directing to that blog, right?
Yep.
Cool. Us touch on that for a minute because that ties into the organic social. Is there anything special? And again, this is a newer thing that we're doing. Is there anything special we're doing or checklists that we're following for the blog to make sure that we're getting the most out of it?
For the blog currently, so the scorecard is that there's one blog posted weekly, and then I make sure to post 2 to 3 times about that blog on our social media and linking that in our Instagram as well, just making sure that we're driving people to the blog to up our website leads. So there's not too much scorecard wise around that right now, because again, it is newer. But that's our goals right now towards that. So
Yeah, and
nothing
I
about
imagine
that.
not to freak you out, but I imagine, as we get, more and more involved with like content marketing and blogging, we'll have metrics for like website visits per blog,
Yep.
more content posted from each one, number of times shared, sharing it across multiple channels. So, blogging is like the least of probably the marketing glove. It's the newest one. We used to do a lot more of it. There's some like keyword, optimization that you can do. But for right now, we just want to keep our website active. We want to drive people to the website because we get a lot of conversions from our website.
Yep.
Um, so that's kind of on the organic side. What about the paid ad side?
Yeah, our goal for paid ads is really high. So across all locations, including Engage, we have a digital goal of 116 digital leads every week from Facebook. And then we also have a website goal as well through our Google Ads. We just started Google Ads probably like about 2 months ago now. So that goal is 10 website leads, but then we also have a goal organically of 41 website leads across the board per week too.
So let's combine, and I don't know if you're prepared to combine, but you said 117 leads. That's just for the engaged locations.
That is combined. It's 86 digitally, just Engage.
Okay, so let's sorry, you confused me with all the numbers. Total, how many leads total are you in charge of generating per week?
Per week across both locations,
All
Engage.
locations, yeah.
Every week it's 245.
So you're responsible for generating 245 leads across 8 locations. So it's 7 Engage, one of Gauge strength training, which it's actually Gauge is almost half of that, right?
Yeah, they're 70.
Yeah. So Gauge strength training, which is our headquarters, is responsible for 70 of those leads, and then whatever it is, 100, whatever, 120 or so across the other locations. So that's a hell of a lot of leads. That's a lot of leads that you're responsible for generating every single week. And so the paid, so now let's break down how those, what you're responsible for, how it breaks down. Paid digital leads, how does that break down of that 245?
Of that 245 digitally is 116, um, just from Facebook paid ads.
Okay, so and we just started Google, so we're splitting that out. What's the split between Facebook and Google right now? And this shifts, this is changing all the time, but
Right now, Google is just 10 website leads, just because we're only running it in a few locations currently, and it is newer.
yeah. And that's per week. All these numbers are per week,
Yep.
just for context. Okay, so where are the other leads? So 100 and whatever you said, 17 are coming from Facebook, Google. Where, how are we generating all the other leads?
About 40 are organic website, and then
That's just people Googling us, opting
yep,
on our, landing on our website. So 40 people per week. Okay.
yep. And then all of the other leads are just organic. So either from email, text message, or referrals or joint venture sources.
All right, cool. Now, when we talk marketing, so that's the lagging indicators, right? So when we talk marketing, you are not responsible for all of the actions because there's facility leaders that have to like promote content. Our salespeople are doing a lot of like lead follow up and joint venture reach outs. So let's go back to the marketing channels now that we got those numbers out of the way. So that was the paid digital leads. Uh, how are you getting that many leads from paid ads? Like, what's the strategy on the ad spend, the creative? When do you know to switch the creative? When do you know to like shift the budget into a creative that's working really well? What is creative? If anybody's listening and doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about, but if you had to teach somebody from the ground up, like how to start running Facebook ads that were successful, what would you tell
First, you need to make sure your targeting is good. So making sure that you are setting age parameters. How far are these people going to drive to your gym? So in most of our gyms, we have a radius of 10 miles. So first is setting that up. Those are really the two major things for that. And we also started including income as well for our targeting just to make sure we're getting the right people. And then next is to set up your ad. So start with an offer and figure out what is your best offer. So we kind of play around with our offer a lot. So we do have like an evergreen offer that seems to be really working the most for us all the time. So we do use that one a lot. And then we have so there's different parts to the actual ad. There's the creative, which is the image. There's the copy, which is really like your caption, and then your headline as well. So we interchange them a lot. So split testing is like what we do. So we split test a lot of different captions with different images to see what works. And then once we kind of start to see how many leads are going to a certain piece of creative or caption, then we'll put towards that certain creative rather than the other ones.
All right, cool. And then as far as ad spend, what are
Mhm.
you seeing as like, I know we've got scorecard metrics, but what are you seeing somebody could expect to get from just a normal campaign? And I say normal campaign because like we run crazy campaigns sometimes. Like we'll do sweepstakes, we'll do free things that really drive the cost per lead way, way down. For the run of the mill thing, because a lot of times when you get leads at that low cost, they're not super warm leads. It's
Yeah.
like they want to enter to win a sweepstakes giveaway, or they're opting into like some ebook or some thing that we're doing that's not like they're really raising their hand saying, I want to join the gym. So, what are you seeing from like a normal campaign in terms of cost per lead? And yeah, start there.
For a normal campaign, we typically see around $30 cost per lead. It can range based on where you're located, but $30 is typically what we see.
Yeah, and it's a we've seen it be a big scope. I mean, our goal is to keep
Yeah.
it under 30. Like we see some gyms will go and like we get $10 leads for a while, and some gym get 40 or $50 leads. Um, so yeah, that's really helpful. Um, so you mentioned how many leads that we get. As far as ad creative, we're gonna touch on a little bit like what our greatest hits are, but what are you seeing works best right now for ad creative?
What we've seen best, funny enough, is like those ugly ads that are simply just a background photo. It's just a plain color with words over top of it. So we run a lot of these. I like to do just the ones that are black background with like red and green and white writing, and those seem to get us a lot of leads. That's kind of what we've been running for a while now, and we're still getting a lot of leads and really low cost per lead from it too.
Yeah, like I think right now we're getting like $12 leads in our Florida location with just a horrible looking ad that looks like a kid did it in like for like a class kindergarten project or something.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Um, so moving on to another channel. I don't know if you've got any like playbooks because you don't. I mean, I guess you do, but joint venture wise, what do we see for success in joint venture marketing from your end? Because a lot of this is like on the ground floor, facility leaders or trainers building relationships with local businesses. But what do you execute on when it comes to joint venture stuff?
For joint ventures, I honestly just give them the facility leaders the playbook. So it has a bunch of different emails, different things like depending the offer, depending what the business is, what they should offer them. So really when they come to me and say that they have this thing going on, I refer to the playbook, give that to them, and then if they need any like creative or images created, then I create that for them so that they can then send it to that business so that they're posting it.
All right, cool. And I think a big part of your job is to make submitting contact info as frictionless as possible.
Yep.
Like especially with joint ventures, like creating a landing page that's really easy to navigate, creating an opt-in form that's like really looks really nice. So that's a big part of it is if somebody has like, hey, I've got a chiropractor that wants to email their list, we're not just sending them a flyer. We're not sending them like a PDF document. We're sending a web page that says, hey, you know, chiropractic center or whatever. Uh, Customers click here for a free week of training and they fill out a form and it goes into our pipeline. So that's a big part of what you spend your time creating for our people.
Yeah, definitely. We have a bunch of different landing pages and just kind of tailor it to that business and what that offer is. And then I just give that to the facility leader to then spread out.
Nice. Did we miss any channels? Did we not talk about any like what you do to optimize channel? We talked, I mean, website. I don't know if there's anything else to touch on website.
I mean, not really. The main thing is just the blogs now.
Yeah,
And then our Google ads again goes with that. So we already touched on that a little bit too.
cool. So one of the things I really wanted to talk about, and I think would be really helpful to share, is what have been our greatest hits, in the last year from marketing. And a part of this is the practice of going back and scraping the data and like remembering what we did that worked really well. I figure was going to be really helpful for my business, and anybody listening might benefit from it as well. And then I want to talk about what we have geared up, what our focus is, and what we're going to be doing going forward uh, to get the most leads as humanly possible. So, what have been our greatest hits, Juliana?
Sure. I'll go over like top three. So some of them are kind of similar in legal, but our beginners week has always performed really well. I was going back at and looking at the stats on this, and there we had over 2 months, we had 400 plus leads just from the beginner week. So it was about 50 leads per week from that campaign.
So,
Um,
explain that campaign.
yeah, our Beginners Week campaign is very, very simple. It's just simply like, are you interested in a free trial? It's beginners only week. It's going to be open for the next week and a half or 2 weeks. And if you would be interested in coming in, it's only a beginner session. You're only going to be with another 7 people. Those people are going to be just like you. So we run that campaign. It's like a 5-day campaign. There's some texts and some emails with that, and it does extremely well pretty much every time we run it.
Yeah, so if you were going to run this campaign, choose a week on the calendar. So we've done it two different ways. We've done it like just open, people can book anytime, and we just adjust their training to be more beginner friendly, which is what we always do. Um, or it's like certain time slots or certain sessions that we try to flood with just beginners. Do you know which one performs better or has performed better?
They've honestly both performed about the same.
Okay. So the big thing there is, and this is all email and SMS marketing. So these are people that live on our email list already that are probably too scared to come to like a regular gym or a regular session. And people, you're marketing to the identity of being a beginner, which they might not do a challenge, they might not do a fat loss thing, they might not come to your HIIT class, but they may come to a beginner session. So you hit them with emails and text messages, right?
Yep.
And it's just a series of emails and text messages geared towards one week. So there's scarcity, there's urgency, um, and that works really well. So we've gotten 400 kind of positive opt-ins for that. I know that this has worked really well when we're opening a gym because during the pre-launch period, we get a lot of people that opt in but never kind of sign up for a founding membership. This has been a really good way to like fill a bunch of spots with that. So anything else on that that's worth touching on?
I don't think so.
Do we do any paid ads for that?
We don't.
Okay, so this is all organic, so it means it's free because we've already got the leads. So that's great.
Yep.
What's next?
Next is our Black Friday campaign. Our Black Friday campaign was 5 for 25. And I think we split tested too with Gauge of 5 for 50. And we had over 250 leads from that campaign over those couple weeks that we ran that campaign.
And again, all already on our list. I think we probably did a little bit of paid ads during that time, but
Yep.
for the most part, these are people that already live on our email and SMS, contact list. How did we promote that?
So we did text messages for it, we did emails, we did ads. We had a landing page so people could just buy it on the landing page rather than responding. So we ended up switching it over to respond. But originally we did have the link. We always have some issues sending a link in a text. So we had to switch over to the responses and
Yeah.
still ended up getting that over 250 leads from it.
Yeah. Sometimes we get flagged as spam if you send too many links in text message. So the telecom companies are really cracking down on that stuff. So that's never fun. But all right, so that's another good campaign. You can only do that once a year. You could do probably other like things like that. But what else you got?
So the next two are kind of very similar, so I'll just say them both. It's the Strong Moms and our Accelerator program. Both of them got 250 leads. And this is just our program, one of our programs that we just remarket, and put a different wrapper on it. So those both got over 250 leads as well.
So the accelerator program, what is that?
Um, Basically, it's a program. I don't know if you've ever talked about our Jumpstart on your podcast, but it is our Jumpstart. We just changed the name to Accelerator Program and just said that you're gonna see results super fast. You'll see results in those 3 weeks, and you would lose X amount of pounds, and that did really well. We did it around New Year's too, as well.
Yeah. So same thing, different wrapper, same candy, different wrapper. What's I think been important is identifying those like power words like accelerator, and just tying them to it. Uh, and a lot of our campaigns center around like a core identity. So I think you mentioned strong moms.
Mhm.
So strong moms, strong dads, 21-day accelerator. So it's either like identity driven, like this is for, you want somebody on the other end of the line to be like that they are talking to me, or that is exactly what I need. Um, and I think that shows itself in our most successful campaigns. Uh, so were those the campaigns that you brought as like our most successful over the last year?
Yep.
Well, one thing I think is helpful, and I think we do a really good job, or you do a really good job of it. I think that's your like one of your superpowers is tracking the effectiveness of these campaigns. So, and how explain it because you probably can't show us all the documentation that you have, but how do you track the effectiveness of all this? Like when you run a campaign, you've got it pretty much dialed in for like how many leads we get, response rate from email, text messages, the cost per lead, how many digital leads. Like, how are you tracking all of this?
Yeah, so for organic, we have an automation that if somebody were to respond positive from a certain automation or campaign, then it goes to a Google Sheet. So I have a Google Sheet that has a million tabs at the bottom labeled with different campaigns we've tried and the people's names, their response, the date, and the location that they came from will all be in that Google Sheet. So then I can just easily count them for organic. And then emails is just in our system. So they'll get tagged, they'll get pulled into the pipeline as well for our sales guy so that he can easily find them as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
so you built a spreadsheet, and every like campaign you run, you've got an automation so that the emails and text messages, if they respond positively, it goes to that spreadsheet so that you can at any given point say, "Oh wow, that email got 20 responses." Right?
yep.
Cool. Love that. One of the things we skipped over, email. Let's talk email marketing. We talked about what email marketing is, but what are the KPIs that you are responsible for when it comes to email marketing? How many emails you send, what the open rate is, if there's a metric for response rate, explain that.
Yeah, so for emails, the goal for the open rate is above 30% on every single email. And then if there is like a link, we always want that click-through rate to be above like 2 to 3% ish. And then the response rate is we typically want like 3 to 4 people responding to an email. Um, so, and we test a lot of different subject lines and copy as well, just to see what subject line people will open. So that's been really helpful as well to know that.
Yeah, and you compile a monthly marketing report. You do a really good job of that. But what are the email subject lines that perform the best for us?
Honestly, all of the like subject lines that have worked really well are like the ones that are personal or like super shocking. Like people are like, what is that?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of them. Like there was some telephone one that people like wanted to open that you wrote like a while ago. So that one had a really good open rate. There's a lot of like really like wacky subject lines that do well, and then our personal ones always do really well. So just like a hey question, or their name as well.
Yeah. So when she says personal, like in most CRM or email systems, you can, if the name is there, it can be like, hey, Devin, and you can have it insert whoever the name is. The problem with that is if somebody gives you like a wacky name, or if it's like, if their name is Christopher, but they go by Chris, they're just going to say, hey, Christopher. And they're going to be like, oh, I know that's a marketing email. But yeah, we usually see it's a good example of like sometimes like the sexiest, like copywriting subject lines like that you read books about are not the most effective ones. Sometimes we do really well with that, but sometimes we don't. So, um, one thing I think is worth touching on is we have had issues with our email deliverability. Um, a lot of these like email systems are flagging spam really highly. Email is getting kind of lower and lower open rates based on just spam laws. We primarily do a lot of our marketing from our central sub account, which goes to all the locations, versus like we have 8 locations sending emails from every single one. Part of that was just it became a lot of work to like copy and paste an email into every single sub account and make sure it was done right every single time. But what explain where we're at with that and the challenges and what we're facing with that.
Yeah, so we faced a lot of challenges with this. I met with a lot of different email companies to try to see what was going on. And it was honestly just that we were pulling these people from the individual accounts and then moving them into the centralized account. So they didn't necessarily opt into that account. So we started to slowly drip out emails to the list to kind of warm them up. And it was working for a little bit, and then it kind of just stalled out. So our open rates were about like between like 8% and 12%, depending on the subject line. Um, so we decided to stop marketing out of that centralized account because we didn't want to ruin those emails. Because
Yeah.
if a sales guy were to message them and then, we have problems or get flagged from sending thousands of emails out to people that were just going to spam. So we decided to go back to the individual accounts for the time being, just for any campaigns. And then we're still just trying to find like different solutions for that. I know that there's like a DMARC and then a lot with like the host name as well. So we're just trying to figure out different solutions for that.
Yeah, and I bring this up because one, we're not perfect. We have a lot of issues with all of our stuff, and we found like there's a lot of stuff that you don't think about. If you have one location or you're doing all this on your own, there's a lot of stuff that comes out as you grow. We're bringing in 245 new leads every single week. We're emailing, 10,000 people every single week or whatever the number is. There's a lot of stuff like, email security, email spam compliance laws that we've been hit with that we're like, oh shit, like this is a whole new thing we got to figure out. Like there's these DMARC authentication things and there's domain blacklisting. So there's a lot of stuff like it measures bounce rate, it measures how many emails it goes to spam. So there's a lot of nuance to email marketing that as you grow, we've had to figure out and we're still figuring out.
Yeah.
So we've got our greatest hits. What are we focused? What does the future hold for engaged personal training? What would be good to share with those listening? There's millions of listeners out there.
I would definitely say um, create a campaign for Beginners Week. We're going to be definitely running that again in the fall. We typically do it in the fall and then spring. And then just finding an offer that works and putting it in a new wrapper. So that's basically all of our campaigns is our Jumpstart, and we just put a different name on it so that it looks different. We might throw like $100 off on it. So that's basically what we are doing for this fall and then going into winter as well. We have our fall into fitness, which is our jumpstart. We'll go into our beginners week as well. And then we'll just market just our jumpstart as well. So all of the campaigns that I did say worked, we'll be rerunning again as well throughout the year.
Yeah, just rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Um, there was something you said uh, that I'm blanking on, but yeah, I mean, I think this is great, really helpful. Is there anything, any final thoughts that might be helpful for somebody that wants to start generating more leads? Is there anything that you feel you do exceptionally well that would be worth sharing?
I would say just literally test everything. And then once you find what works, double down on that thing. Like we found that changing the jumpstart into a different name works really well. So we do it all the time and it works every time. And when we throw out something random at the wall, it just doesn't perform as well. So just test it, figure out what works, and double down on that thing.
touch on testing. How do you go about testing something? Like what would you test? How would you test it? There's stuff in our, go ahead level system, but what do you do to test?
Yeah, so there is ways to do like split test on text messages and really all different kinds of things, subject lines. So for an offer, for example, like our Jumpstart, we have tested in three locations $50 off, and then in three other locations, we tested $100 off. And then we ran through those campaigns. We found out which one worked, which was $100 off. And then now, when we did this campaign again, we were able to know that the $100 off is what works best. And then we did the same thing for Black Friday. We did 5 for 25 versus 5 for 50, and just figured out which one worked and which one converted more on the sales end as well. So then that way, going into the next year, next time we run that play, we'll be able to know what works.
Cool. Which one worked better, 5 for 25 or 5 for 50?
5 for 50 actually worked best.
Interesting. All right, Juliana. Well, I think this is really helpful. I appreciate you coming on. And if anybody wanted to reach out to you or had questions to bug you, how could they reach out to you?
You guys can email me at juliana@gagestrengthtraining.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Juliana. This is great.
Thank you for having me.